Hey everyone, it's Kit.Nicole and I'm back with another Operation Christmas Child related video. So in my first Calgary processing video, someone did comments like asking for my thoughts about working at the processing center. So here it is. I was planning on doing this anyways, so I just didn't want to tag it on to the end of that video or else it get really long. And I originally did try recording it that day and I just kept rambling, so I've organized my thoughts kind of, and here we are. So to start off with, I did come here by myself, just because scheduling with friends would have been a bit of a challenge, so I came on my own. So that made it interesting when I came for my shift. It was like a little surprised that I'm here by myself, because it tends to be a lot of groups or pairs or whatever. So I got asked if I wanted to work with gifts in kind or if I wanted to do some processing. Since it's my first time there, I really wanted to do the processing. So there was a group of 6 that I got slotted in with. Apparently like 5 of them were, from what I picked up, 5 of them were coworkers, and then one of them brought his wife with him. So it was a nice fun group. I think that's all they ended up working at, like a winery or something like that. Yeah, so that was interesting because it was like you could kind of like see it in the guys. It's like it's like, I guess they're a little bit more, how do I say it, shipment oriented. It's just like taking the stuff out of the cartons, like taping it up, putting it into the other cartons. So that was pretty interesting. I heard one of them did comment about like the little conveyor belt thing that, or with the rollers that they got at the center, like, oh, we need one of these. So that was fun. Another thing about, I guess, the way my crew was, it was, so now 7 of us in total. There was like 3 of us doing the processing, 2 on the tapes, and then 2 loading up the cartons. We didn't really do the whole dynamic of like one person looks for like the money is processed. It was just like kind of faster with just 3 of us digging through and looking for everything. Our team lead was pretty like impressed at the end. I don't know how many shoeboxes we did, but she was like, oh my goodness, you guys did so much. She was so impressed with what we did in our short shift, so that was pretty interesting. Overall, how I felt in regards to packing, I'm sorry, I don't know how else to put it. It was just kind of like, I have my standard packing a shoebox, so it's like kind of hard to relax that and see what other people are packing. Yeah, because it's like you've got like these nice full boxes, and then you've got some that have like some gaps that you kind of want to fill, and others that are a little bit more half empty-ish or don't have quite a variety of stuff. And you're like poking through, you're supposed to be looking for the inappropriate items, but at the same time just like, wait, do they have a toothbrush in here, or do they have some pencils, is there paper? Or yeah, it was interesting to say the least. You end up taking like a lot of pride in what you do on your own, and in a way you do have to kind of like humble yourself a little bit, and these are how these other boxes are packed. One thing, I guess, like one of my big takeaways in regards to like packing my boxes for next year, I did technically start doing it this year, or having a goal of it, but our team lead, I think if I remember correctly, her name was Michelle. She was telling us to, like, if we get a bulging box, we did have permission to try to repack it so it's not so bulging. And she also gave us permission, it's like, if we can't like get that bulge down enough, we did have permission to actually remove an item. But then what we were doing is like we were putting it back into the fillers and then putting it into another box that needed an additional item. So I think overall, there's really only, I think, one box that we came across where that actually had to be done. There was a box that I actually had where thankfully I didn't have to take anything out. I just like repositioned some things. And oh yeah, actually no, there's 2 boxes where I had to reposition things, and I did take stuff like out of the packaging just to make sure it fit better. So we had permission to do that as well. Yeah, box integrity, that was really stressed. Based on the group that I had, I think only one of the guys actually has packed shoe boxes in the past. His like the boxes him and his wife were doing, it's like they weren't ready yet. So it was like after this experience, he was like going to be working on it this weekend, from what I understood. And I guess he just got all his coworkers together. But I did explain to one of them, because one of the guys on the other side of me, he opened up a box and there was like 5 small Rubik's Cubes in there. He was just like, 5 Rubik's Cubes? It's like, what's the kid going to do with all this? And I could tell it's like he wanted to like take some of these and put it into the filler. And I'm like, no, keep them all in there because the kids can share. And so it's like, he was a little reluctant, but he listened and put them all back in. And I think it was not even 10 minutes later, Michelle came around and she was like telling us some shoebox stories, and she explained one that I've heard before, where this was several years ago, a box was open and there's like this beautiful Christmas Barbie doll inside, and it was just like, wow, this is awesome. And as the person was processing, like underneath the doll is just like all these different tools and a lot more boyish items were in there, and she felt like really conflicted, or this processor felt really conflicted about this, but team lead said no, keep the integrity of the box. So reluctantly she put the Barbie doll back in, the box got taped up and sent out. And many months later, as the office is getting the reports from the distributors, this one story came up where these boxes are being delivered to a school, and there's a particular boy that was visibly upset that these boxes were getting delivered. And when they approached the boy and like, hey, what's going on? He explained that his sister was actually at home sick that day. And so he was really concerned that she wasn't going to get anything, she was missing out. And I was just like, okay, it's just like, we'll see what we can do at like towards the end of the day kind of thing. When he opened up his box, right on top was this beautiful Christmas Barbie doll. And like his mood absolutely changed. He was so excited that this Barbie doll was in his box, because now there was a guarantee his sister was getting a gift. So I can tell like I was already familiar with that story, but I could tell like my crewmates, they were surprised and they really took that to heart. So let's see, the shoebox hospital, I think there was a couple of boxes we did have to send there, unfortunately, because it's like they might have got like a little bit torn up. That was another thing. If you are packing shoe boxes, if you're new to packing, you're packing for a while, and you've just come across this random video, hi, please do not tape up your boxes. We do have to open them and just make sure that all the contents inside are appropriate and that there is actually enough inside the box, simply put. But we do need to open up the boxes and guarantee that everything is appropriate to send. So there were a couple boxes that I think some of them was just like the side of the boxes ripped So there was that. Another issue that came up was the labels. And this is where I see labeling issues could come into play. There was some unmarked labels, so it was like it was an OCC label, but if it was like printed off the computer, it wasn't marked boy or girl. Then there were some where it was like a boy label or girl label, but they forgot to mark off the age. Then we have to guess which one it is, and if the one processing the box doesn't notice the label right away, then the person that tapes up the box tapes it, and then they pass it on to the next one, like, well, what's groups this for? And then you're trying to remember. Then it comes back to the processor, like, well, like, who's this box for? And then you're trying to guess, like, oh, it's like boy, girl. It's like, I think it was this age, and there it goes. So that's where some of the box mix-up can come into play. There's also the issue of don't use homemade labels. You can print labels off of the OCC website and tape them on. Also make sure you're taping them towards the end of the box, because we do have to tape it in the middle, because taping up either side of the label does take up more tape, and that's more resources, and that's an added cost. So there's that. Yeah, so we did have like a roll of labels that we could use in case one needed to get replaced, but that's those thoughts. Oh yeah, and also in regards to labels, in Canada we do not have tracking labels. These are just regular labels. It's just boy, girl, age group, that's it, and the logo. We don't have tracking yet. No word on when that is coming, because there is a cost to that program. So that being said, there were some boxes that did come through that actually had a tracking label on it, and to any Americans that are watching, if you sent a box like that to a Canadian friend or whatever, because you want to see where that box is going, unfortunately you will not get any tracking data for those boxes, because we don't have scanners. We don't have that program here. So unfortunately you won't be able to tell where that box ended up. But if you're curious, we do send to 9 countries. So it's Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and El Salvador in Central America. In West Africa, it's the Gambia, Senegal, Guinea-Bissau, and Cabo Verde. And then we also sent to the Ukraine and to the Philippines. So that just like a little idea of where our boxes are going. Someone also managed to get like those plastic containers. So we, like, for Canada, if you're ordering off the OCC website, we just get the cardboard ones. So it's like really interesting to see like the plastic go boxes come through. It's just like, oh, someone had an American friend, or they made a trip down or paid the extra cost to get those. But hey, you do you. Let's see. Now that's some highlights. When I started there, like the first carton that my side of the table was going through, it was a little hard to say if it was a group pack or one particular person packing, but the first group of boxes is like, I'm going to refer to them as the Dollar Tree boxes, because it was literally, you open up the box, there is a plastic Dollar Tree bag on the inside. I'm also really curious like how I'm not quite sure if Dollar Tree is back to having plastic bags, because we had a single-use plastic bag or plastic ban in Canada for a while, until that got like Supreme Court said like, hey, that's not right. So I'm not sure where those plastic bags came from, but it was Dollar Tree, whatever, I'm rambling. And it was like pretty much that bag was lining the inside of the box, and everything else was in there. A lot of stuff, it's like, okay, yeah, these are from Dollar Tree, that's from Dollar Tree, that's from Dollar Tree, that's, hey, good on you, especially if you got it before the recent price jump. I did have to point out to my partners, like, make sure you're actually like lifting up the bag to check underneath, because yeah, there was a pencil case underneath those that we had to check. That was actually a really good idea though, because it was like, that made it easier, like, hey, instead of like trying to like lift all these individual items up, you could just like lift the bag, everything kind of stays together. So those were cool. Let's see, there was another group of boxes that we got where it was like so many items in there, was like either knitted or crocheted, and it was just, it's like there was so much in there. It was like little blankets, or I think like some stuffies, or I'm not even sure if like maybe like a little hat or something. It was like, those were like really sweet boxes. There was like another group where it was like, it was definitely individual lady packing, because it was like, we had to like, there was an envelope inside, we had to like check the card, and there was a picture of like one lady in there, so that was really sweet. Let's see, oh, and it was just like, I think like the biggest thing that we were all wowed by was we got these 2 toolkits that came in. And I really liked it because it was like that top part, they did like put like some stuff in there, and you open it up, there was like a little tray, you could lift that out, and there was like some more stuff. Unfortunately, I did have to remove something from those boxes. There was a couple of hacksaws in there, and we can't, those are on the inappropriate list, we can't send saws. And it was like, I don't know, I think the saw was only about that big. It was still too big, we had to take it out. But besides that, it was those were very full boxes, and that was like so cool to see. I think that was like one of our big highlights. There's like another series of boxes where I think someone crafted these little wood trucks, and the reason why I say that they were crafted by the person was, it was did notice like there was like some loose, a little bit of sawdust like in there, so they hadn't been like wiped off or anything, but it was still okay. That was really sweet. And well, if you saw my my first video, I did take quite a few little video clips of like some nice boxes, so that's that. Now on the flip side, there were some boxes that were kind of lacking, which was like a little sad, because I had to like go through the filler bins, and then we're asking like, we need more filler. But yeah, there was like some boxes that were kind of like on the half full side. The one in particular was like, had this really cute like little pair of shoes, but there was still like space on top for stuff, so we did manage to fill up that one. What else? There was about 3 boxes that came up like between both sides of the table. There's 2 boxes where the only item in there was like this very large stuffy, and then there was another box that had a brand new pair of shoes, but that was it. So yeah, we were kind of like scrambling to try to like get additional stuff in there, because it's like, you do want a well-rounded box. I do remember one story where apparently there was a situation like that. Somehow a box got through processing, and the only thing in that was like this big stuffed animal. When the person like doing the distribution event saw that, they're like, oh no. But the girl that opened up her box, she was so excited, she took off home. Didn't matter, didn't stay for the rest of the party, didn't matter. She was so excited about this stuff, and she just took off home, and that was it. So even if something like that does go through. We did make sure to like load up ours, but even if something like that did go through, it could still bring joy to a child. So I guess next to that, there were some things I did have to take out. Kind of like one of the first things that came up was a little glitter ball. So a ball with some glitter on the inside. I was just like, I saw that, like, oh nope, that goes in the bin. My group partner also found one, so it was probably a group pack. So that was unfortunate. I think overall we didn't have to remove too many things. There was also the hacksaws that I had to take out. There were some toy cars that were obviously secondhand. They were kind of scuffed and such, so I had to take those out, put that into the inappropriate bucket. There was one thing I did remove from a shoebox. There was a coloring book, and it was, the box was for 2 to 4, but this was like, this was a coloring book that I felt, it was a superhero coloring book, but I felt some of the stuff in there would have been a little bit scary for a 2 to 4. So I did take it out. Instead of putting in the inappropriate thing, I put it back into the filler. And I know that did get repacked into another box. So that was kind of like the only kind of like big judgment call that I had to do. It was just like, I didn't feel comfortable putting that in a 2 to 4 box. I thought it was a bit much. But yeah, so sorry if that was yours. Let's see. Yeah, I think there is, oh yeah. Somehow this came in the filler. It wasn't in an actual box, but there were these glass cups that came through, and these were I don't know the correct term, but these are more alcoholic drinking cups. So it's like you got kind of like the cup portion on the bottom, on the top, and you've got like a little stem, but if you flip it around, the stem is actually a shot glass. So especially working with people from a winery, they saw that and they're like, I don't think this is supposed to be going in a shoebox. So yeah, we removed those from the filler, unfortunately. So I guess whoever was sorting the gifts in kind didn't quite pick up on that. But that was it. But then moving on to filler, even though this was like technically kind of like really the first day-ish, the processing started, personally, I felt like what we had in our bins, especially at the start, wasn't the greatest. There were times, like, yeah, those first few half-filled boxes, I'm kind of like, I don't know what to put in. Like, what's most appropriate? I'm sure I'm not the only person that has felt that way. We did start getting like some more variety of stuff. Michelle was great. She kind of like went and fetched stuff for us. She even got us like extra stuffies. She's like, I'm not supposed to do this, guys, but I asked them to give you like more stuffies. So like, real thank you. We really needed stuffies for our boxes. We actually did something kind of naughty. We were stealing from like the table behind us because no one was there. We were told not to do that because like, yeah, there needs to be stuff in their filler bins for like the group coming in after. So it was like, oops. I know you're not supposed to do it. I kind of wish I had smuggled some stuff in there, but then that's like just kind of like, I guess, kind of my packing pride. But so I didn't smuggle. I don't encourage you to smuggle, but it was like one of my little struggles. But that being said, there was like a whole bunch of like little keychains, little wristbands. There was actually a lot of homemade stuffies. So these were like felt stuffies. They were little rabbits, and those were like really good filler. I really enjoyed packing those. There were some dresses that in our filler bins. Let's see. There's some balls. There was like chopsticks. These were like these like really nice green plastic chopsticks. Like when I kind of noticed, I did kind of like gather them together so they were nice to like, I don't know, fill in just areas. There was one point where I did notice like the person across from me, they like pulled one out. I'm like, oh, there should be a second one. They're chopsticks, and found it. Like, there you go. Now you can include it. So, and there was also like these little, I don't know, little travel pouches from Air Canada, and they had some stuff inside. I didn't take a look myself, but apparently like something like, I heard one of my crewmates say like a little night mask, and I think there's like a few other things in there. So I was like, okay, you know what, those were a decent filler too. I did kind of consider like going like filler shopping after that, but I ended up not, just because driving around in the city is a little exhausting, to be honest. I like Winnipeg. I really prefer driving in Winnipeg than driving in Calgary. But let's see. I do know that there is a lot of filler though right now anyways, based on the tour that I had, going like seeing like the rest of the warehouse. I was just like, yeah, no, these are tall shelves filled with gifts in kind. And there was actually, during our tour, there was like some ladies, they were opening up a box and there was like full of stuffies. So I guess like simply put, what we had was kind of like the early sort, and I'm guessing like later on there's going to be like a lot more filler and such, abounding pretty much as they sort through all the gifts in kind. Oh yeah, another thing on the tour, an interesting thing I was told about the gifts in kind is like, yeah, different groups will donate large amounts of free stuff, and apparently they do get a lot of Amazon returns. So whatever comes back to the Amazon warehouses that they can't actually resell, they get donated to Samaritan's Purse, and they will sort out like what would be appropriate for a shoebox and what can be like re-donated to another program. So that was pretty interesting to hear. And I do know one of my crewmates, when we were on break, he was kind of mentioning, oh my goodness, so, like I got like a bunch of hats from like this past summer, I guess, from their work, and it's just like yeah, could like bring those in, because like, yeah, if you saw the filler struggle, and those hats would be great. Yeah, I can't quite say specifically or make suggestions on what filler to send, because it's all like, it varies from time to time. Like there are times where, yeah, we had a lot of homemade stuffies, and then there are times where it's like we had a lot of rolls of paper and dresses. I will say I didn't see too many hygiene packs or pencil packs at the time I was there, at least at my table. So I think those would be really good to include. Maybe like little underwear packs as well, clothing, stuffies, what have you. And if you've stuck with me this far, thanks. I'm not done thinking yet. Let's see. Yeah, also in regards to filler, I'm just thinking about like the little box of filler that I did. It was like 20 pencil packs for the amount of shoe boxes that we are packing, which was like going to be over 400,000. I know that they are hoping to hit 500,000. It feels like a drop in a bucket, but then I know, you know what, for a box that needs it, hey, it's there, it's gonna help. So we'll see about next year. Right now my main focus is just like packing my boxes, but if it comes up, any extra stuff, then yeah, I'll look at doing filler, because I do definitely want to like get my stash back to ground zero before yeah, replenishing for the next year. Another interesting thing, it's really, I have to just say, I'm saying the word interesting too much, but it was interesting to see people's reactions to especially like when you get talking, it's just like, oh, so like just general question, where are you from? Like, oh, I'm from Winnipeg. And they're like, you came here? Just like, yeah, we wanted to come here for years. I finally made it. So that was like really interesting reaction from my crewmates, and then even from the OCC staff. That is like, I know like every packing season is like you get these groups traveling in, but it's still I guess not overwhelming, but it's just really touching just to see that people are traveling and they are making the trek. It's like one thing, like someone from another part of the province like coming in is like, oh, you could do a day trip, that's it. But just like, yeah, you took a flight, you booked a hotel room, it's just like took a flight, took a long drive, and you made it. So that was still like really interesting. They do definitely appreciate the support though, that's for sure. And I did get an email the day after my volunteer shift. First off, which was like, thank you for coming and for all your support. Apparently the day I was there, we had managed to process 26,924 shoeboxes. That is just nuts. I don't know how many cartons my group went through or how many boxes like we did, but I know we were hustling. Can't take credit for the full amount, but I know we were hustling. Okay, what else? I did go back the next day for a tour. I couldn't book when I booked my shift. It was like that Friday was just booked solid already. I'm like, this is within like an hour of getting the email. But I did go back for a tour because I did notice that there were like 2 tour times, and it turned out I was the only one that went up for the 11:30 tour. So that was kind of nice just to have that one-on-one. I have to say, like, going through that, it was only a half hour, but I don't know how to describe it. Just like, I felt very moved just by like all the shoe boxes and then all the other stuff that Samaritan's Purse is doing, and then their disaster relief program as well. That was like very, very interesting and touching, really. It's kind of like I don't know what to do with this feeling, but it's there. And definitely God deserves all the glory for that, because it's like without him doing it, kind of like what else can you do? So they get to hear a little bit more about the Ontario Processing Center because it's back for the 2024 season. So previously it was like Calgary, Alberta, and Mississauga, Ontario. They had their processing centers. But then in 2017, 2018, the Calgary warehouse got revamped. If you saw my tour video, it was kind of mentioned in there. They renovated it all, and it now had the capacity to pretty much hold both centers together, so they amalgamated into just Calgary. But then this past year in Ontario, there was like some large flooding situations going on, and Samaritan's Purse came in. They assisted with that. And to be honest, as controversial as the Premier of Ontario has been, his government actually invited Samaritans of Purse to come and actually set up shop in Ontario, and I guess like to provide like closer support. So instead of like coming all the way from Calgary, which is technically a 3-day drive, it's like a little bit more strategic to have centers set up in Ontario, and because that could also help like Ontario and then like the rest of Eastern Canada. So he apparently Ontario government gave them a grant, actually invited them to come and open up a center or a warehouse there. And so this year shoeboxes can now be collected in Ontario. I hope someone has gone to the Ontario Center and done their own processing center video. I would love to see it, see how they've got stuff set up there. And I think this video is quite long enough. I did get a couple little souvenirs for myself, so I did get myself a little Christmas ornament. So it's like the shoebox with the airplane wings. I think I'll put it up on the tree this year. And also because I have adult money, I got a plush. And I forgot what the name of this guy is supposed to be. He's Captain something. But yeah, I thought that is so cool. There's little airplane engines. Yeah, so going to be my new desk buddy. Maybe in my videos next year, I will have him like sitting on the table when I do my boxing ups or unboxings or whatever. But yeah, so anyways, if you've made it to the end, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I hope this was interesting and informative and relatable. And if you can't make it to a processing center this year, consider slotting time for yourself next year. It is a really good experience. And one thing I like about the Ontario Center being open now is that makes it a lot easier for those in Eastern Canada to participate, especially those in Ontario and like say Quebec. It just is like short drive and you're there. Well, more or less anyways. So yeah, thanks for watching. Happy shoeboxing and stay blessed. I've got one more video coming out for this year, so stay tuned. Bye.